Subscribe. MTL World at Mittel World 1 YouTube channel. Swallowed Star 2. Origin Continent. Volume 7. Nine Rivers Holy Realm. Chapter 284 The Ultimate Reward Point in Infinite Space. 12th of Volume 7. Inside the Star Tower. Luo Feng sat cross-legged, the eye of life and death, on his forehead open, gazing at the densely organized treasures before him. Feathers, blood, bones, scales, membranes, leaves, branches, sap, roots, mist, weird liquids, and unusual things. A diverse collection, all obtained from low-level Hunyuan lifeforms. Low-level Hunyuan lifeform materials from the early period of the God Emperor, a total of about 5,000 pieces, with an average price of 300 Hunyuan crystals per piece. At the early God Emperor level within the Nine Rivers Holy Realm, I have gathered at least 90% of the low-level Hunyuan lifeform components associated to life and destruction. Luo Feng silently calculated in his heart. He had already acquired whatever was available in Yulan City. However, most of what he acquired were ordinary pieces of low-level Hunyuan creatures. The costs of somewhat more essential parts were simply too expensive. A single feather from a low-level Hunyuan lifeform may hold a small number of secret patterns. However, if we could obtain blood, bones, membranes, and a dozen other pieces, the secret patterns encoded inside them would most likely account for 80 to 90% of the bloodline of this low-level Hunyuan lifeform. Luo Feng employs this poverty purchase method. If he were wealthy enough, he could purchase the refined and entire Hunyuan bloodline or life core directly. These are all valuable artifacts that carry the mysteries of all the hidden patterns of a low-level Hunyuan life. Luo Feng carefully examined his recent acquisitions, feeling a deep sense of frustration at the staggering costs involved. Mid-stage God Emperor level Hunyuan life materials, only 200 portions, each priced at an average of 3,500 Hunyuan crystals. Late-stage God Emperor level Hunyuan life materials, a mere 10 portions, with an average value of 40,000 Hunyuan crystals each. Perfection stage God Emperor level Hunyuan life materials. I only managed to purchase a single bottle of ordinary blood, yet it had cost me an astronomical 390,000 Hunyuan crystals. Luo Feng couldn't help but feel helpless. The stronger the low-level Hunyuan lifeforms, the greater their bloodline evolution potential. This was especially true for those at the perfection stage God Emperors, beings whose enhancements had been pushed to the absolute limit. Many of them stood at the threshold of awakening into high-level Hunyuan lifeforms, making them exceptionally rare and difficult to hunt. Every perfection stage God Emperor Hunyuan lifeform is incredibly hard to kill. Throughout Yulan City, only 3 palace masters have the capability to take one down in a one-on-one battle. However, even they hesitate to act rashly because these lower-tier Hunyuan beings are far from foolish. They belong to different clans, are naturally cunning, and often set traps instead of walking into danger blindly. Although low-level Hunyuan beings lag behind cultivators in comprehension, their intelligence is on par with the average residents of the origin continent. Eliminating them. Slaying the weakest ones at the early God Emperor stage is manageable since they are merely the outcasts of their clans. But those who have reached the perfection God Emperor stage are either high-ranking figures or clan leaders. Furthermore, these powerful individuals rarely act alone and often move in groups. This is why practitioners must remain within city boundaries. Against low-level Hunyuan lifeforms in large-scale battles, they stand little chance. If I had to rely solely on hunting, gathering this many materials would be as difficult as reaching the heavens. Luo Feng, with the eye of life and death opened between his brows, gazed at the vast collection of materials before him. Fortunately, in the Nine Rivers Holy Realm, such items were readily available for trade. In Yulan City, he had acquired a massive stockpile of cultivation resources, various weapons, secret treasures, and even inheritances. Yet, Luo Feng primarily focused on gathering materials. Inheritance. According to the senior Yuan, the best approach is to carve out your own path. Luo Feng placed great trust in the wisdom of his predecessor. For example, both perfect and special inheritances strictly forbid the transmission of knowledge beyond the God King level. This is because the previous lessons in the past had taught Yuan and others that excessively powerful inheritances could severely disrupt a practitioner's growth, ultimately destroying their path of cultivation. Superior and intermediate inheritances have a lesser impact but still influence one's journey. But no matter what, they still affect growth. Learn from everything and forge your own way. Under the eye of life and death, even ordinary-looking golden blood revealed secrets far beyond anything found in Yulan City, at least 10 times greater. In Yulan City, the bionic eye of destruction was merely a God Emperor-level observation technique, capable of discerning only surface-level secret patterns. Yet, when examining the same bottle of blood with the eye of life and death in the origin continent, far deeper insights were unveiled. The observational ability of high-level Hunyuan lifeforms allows me to almost completely decipher some low-level Hunyuan life materials. Luo Feng mused to himself, exchanging for the Eye of Life and Death back then was truly a wise decision. These 5,000 low-level Hunyuan life materials serve as the foundation of my cultivation path. Luo Feng understood that by thoroughly analyzing them with the Eye of Life and Death, he would gain immense benefits. On the towering pavilion of the city lord's mansion in Hunyuan City. Morosa. A call echoed through the air. Upon hearing his name, Morosa was momentarily surprised. Then, without hesitation, he soared toward the high pavilion, where he found Luo Feng, sitting alone, sipping his drink. Master! Morosa exclaimed excitedly. You've finally come out of seclusion. In Yulan City, whether Luo Feng was immersed in cultivation or venturing out to hunt, he mostly remained in isolation within the origin continent, only emerging occasionally when he had spare time. I have some gifts for you. Luo Feng said with a wave of his hand, sending out an entire set of powerful weapon treasures. Morosa's eyes widened in astonishment as he watched the treasures float before him. After refining and attuning himself to them with ease, the armor seamlessly fused with his body, the helmet integrated into his skull, and a pair of gloves enhanced the sharpness of his claws. Nearby, formation diagrams hovered in midair. 8 complete sets of weapon treasures, all supreme artifacts of the Tao of Destruction. Morosa was ecstatic. In the origin continent, obtaining super-tier treasures beyond the God King level was exceedingly rare, and finding ones that aligned with a practitioner's own path was even harder. For example, the weapons Luo Feng had acquired after killing Emperor Yuan were eventually sold off because they did not suit his cultivation path. Master, these are perfect for me. With this set of treasures, I can glimpse the path beyond the God King realm, Morosa said with excitement. You have a chance to break through. Luo Feng asked, surprised. No hope at all, Morosa replied with a wry grin. Now that I can see the path beyond the God King, I understand just how impossibly difficult it is. I have no hope of reaching it. He then added confidently, but with these weapon treasures, my strength will surge. In the origin continent, aside from the few god emperors like yourself, I'm confident I can overpower anyone else. Even the ruler of 10,000 realms could not match Morosa when it came to weapons and treasures. Luo Feng nodded with a smile. Go on, go on. Since Luo Feng frequently secluded himself in the origin continent, Morosa remained the strongest among his subordinates. Whether it was managing affairs in the Galaxy Divine Kingdom or the Daohe sect, Morosa had to oversee and handle many responsibilities. With this full set of powerful treasures, he could better deter emperors and monarchs. Of course, Morosa had also worked hard and made great contributions, this reward was well deserved. A complete set of early God Emperor level treasures is actually quite cheap, Luo Feng mused. These weapon sets were all of early God Emperor grade, commonly used by those below the God Emperor level in Yulan City. Only the armor formation diagram was slightly more expensive. The total cost for all the weapons and armor. 35,000 Hunyuan crystals. This time, Luo Feng had spent 100,000 Hunyuan crystals in acquiring weapons, secret treasures, and rare auxiliary items to equip Morosa as well as the friends and family and the disciples from the Daohe sect. Since they weren't particularly strong, even the cheapest items from Yulan City were more than enough. The ultimate god kings of Yulan City painstakingly crafted treasures and medicines, yet they were sold at incredibly low prices, barely earning them any profit. It's not that I don't want to buy you even better weapons, Morosa, Luo Feng remarked with a chuckle. But you wouldn't be able to fully utilize them anyway. As for acquiring more powerful treasures, there was no rush. Without a valid reason, it wasn't appropriate to gift them randomly. For instance, if a disciple achieved great merit and reached a new level of strength, then a reward would be justified. Simply handing out gifts for no reason would be meaningless. The ancestors of the 2 great ancient nations had always adhered to the principle that rewards must be earned. As for Master Emperor Chu, there was no point in preparing gifts yet, he already possessed vast amounts of treasures as the emperor of the Yangfeng ancient nation. None of these items were precious enough for him. Since Luo Feng was still relatively poor at the moment, he decided to go hunting a few more times to accumulate wealth before preparing an appropriate gift for his master. I'm sure my master can wait another 1,000 or 2,000 years, Luo Feng thought. Infinite space, the island in the middle of the lake. Standing at the lake's edge, Luo Feng began refining his Tao of life and death. Now that he had completely comprehended it, executing its techniques felt effortless, natural, like second nature. World in the palm. A colossal, illusory hand manifested, dwarfing even the central island of the lake. In the palm of this immense hand, an entire world was created. At this moment, Luo Feng was standing inside that world. Like a divine creator shaping existence, Luo Feng effortlessly unleashed a supreme secret technique, forming a forbidden move. Just then, a surge of information resonated from the mark in his palm, a signal had arrived. Infinite space, defining moment. It's finally confirmed, I've broken through. Luo Feng smiled as he accessed the system's update. Tester, Luo Feng, origin continent. You have successfully opened a new, complete Dao, a fusion of life and death. Its foundational strength surpasses that of typical Daos. Evaluation, perfect. Reward, 200,000 points. You have received the full reward for pioneering this new Dao. Luo Feng continued reading. Before breaking out of the cage, if one's mind and will transcend it first, the highest reward for mental and spiritual fortitude will also be granted. Since the establishment of infinite space and the opening of the Great Tao, fewer than 100 individuals have received the highest mental and willpower reward. Among them, over 70% have already broken free from the cage. Reminder: killing any spiritual beings is strictly prohibited. Violators will be permanently expelled from infinite space. Total reward points, 254,093.03. Luo Feng felt a surge of excitement. 200,000 reward points. This instantly made him feel wealthier than ever. To put things into perspective, the Eye of Life, an invaluable treasure for cultivation, costs only 120,000 points, meaning he could now afford 2 of such artifacts. Clearly, the Yuan and seniors placed immense value on those with exceptional talent, offering greater rewards accordingly. Luo Feng pondered the implications of this information. Fewer than 100 have received the highest reward for mind and will, and more than 70% of them have broken free from their cages. That meant the remaining 20 to 30% were either still in training, or dead. Regardless, the success rate of breaking free from the cage was exceptionally high among those who had achieved this level. At his current realm of a god emperor, breaking free from the cage of the mind was something few had ever achieved. Even late-stage god emperors and semi-Hunyuan cultivators struggle with this. Luo Feng mused. Most powerhouses in the Dark Holy Realm reached an extreme bottleneck at the God Emperor stage. However, the concept of breaking free from the mind's cage was more than just a bottleneck, it was practically a legend. Luo Feng's gaze sharpened. I want to see just how difficult it truly is to break the mind and will free from its confines. There was no rush, his mental and spiritual strength had yet to reach the absolute peak of the God Emperor level. For now, his path continued. End of chapter. Subscribe. MTL World at Middle World 1 YouTube channel.